Tall, so not the biggest barbarian, but I'm jacked.
To hair and braids. What if we put it into braids and then we wrapped it around and then we gave on the flowers sticking together and then what if we did this?
May I have another drink, please?
Yes, you may. And he goes over.
Put your hands up, it's better!
No. Sarah, your roll in Constitution, saving throw. Yes.
You, I'm gonna fight you.
He's sort of you guys know who I am, right?
Yeah. Goggles.
You're
Dr.
Robot. Dr. Robot.
What do you do?
Take a moment to try to stop laughing.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing with the other one.
Why not? It worked again.
Hating on Batman.
and I don't hate Batman for the record. I hate the fandom of Batman.
Oh, cool. Okay,
That's the
that's
issue.
way more people.
It is. It's
To
a
hate.
lot like actual human beings.
Were you gonna?
You need to rub this crap off your neck and not smell like me. Or Wolf at all. Just start rubbing his neck and just getting like...
I am fairly
urine.
certain it doesn't matter what I smell like at this point.
To a feline. You have wolf's piss on you.
I'm just gonna point at my feline eyes.
I have some time.
You've just tuned in. We had the brilliant idea while we were fishing at the Dark Moon Festival.
Oh, jeez.
To do a dungeon with fishing poles equipped. Because why not? And so we drank all of the alcohol in our bags, and we equipped our fishing poles and our aquatic pets, and we went to do a dungeon.
I feel like I need to close out. So this was the end of our epic tale. What holds for next week as the heroes set sail? We may find more family, we may find where things start. All we know is to follow our hearts. So our heroes set forth to pillage and to wander in the magical continent of wonder. We have one more question. I hope to not blunder. Question for you, dear friends. Do you wonder? Thank you, guys. Indigo Connect.
Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Into the Vault, the show where we reach back into the Disney vault, pull out a movie, and find out if it was a hidden treasure or if it was locked away for your own good. I'm your host, Garrison McCraw, and I'm here live at Indigo Chameleon Studios with, we have Scribe over here. Welcome. Thank you for joining me here at your studio.
Thank you for inviting me to my house. This is wonderful. This is great to get out for a little bit and just kind of see what there is to see. You know?
See.
So thank you everybody who has joined us this evening. We are talking about this amazing movie that we actually just watched a few seconds ago.
Yes.
That I will be honest, don't think I would have watched had we not been doing a podcast about. But I still enjoyed it. I think the company helped. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
it
the
definitely
movie
does.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially when you're going back, like way back into like movies from like the, I don't know, when was this? 1954.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes it's like it's a bit to get through, but I always feel so good after watching them.
I
Like
do.
a little piece of history, a little.
I do too. My parents love these older Disney movies, and we were sort of like raised on them. And my dad being in the Navy, I'm gonna get rid of this chair because there's only the two of us. We might as well just be like to not have a buffer. Like my dad being in the Navy and stuff like that. Like he talked about, all these movies and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Seems like it influences sci-fi and steampunk genre so well.
Oh, it definitely does. Like the original novel and Jules Verne, like his whole like motif of like that steampunk, like everything's futuristic, and a lot of the like critics of the time, like and scientific like researchers, like looked at his stuff and was like, yeah, as far as like
Historical accuracy,
like accuracy goes, like he was right on the money with a lot of things that like most people wouldn't really know about, like submarine technology and all that stuff, where it was like, no, that adds up. Like it's obviously very fictionalized, but there's certain bits that are like, yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, so had you seen it before we watched?
I have never seen this one.
Okay. I had, but it had been so long ago that I completely forgotten. So
yeah,
I was trying to put together before we watched it. I was trying to remember and recall, like, okay, from when I know this is going to be.
There's like a squid.
There's a
like
giant squid, and that was about it. Like I knew there was a submarine and a giant squid, but I got to be honest, like I didn't remember anything else, like anything else about the movie, like, and definitely not as a child would I would have picked up on some of the nuances that Nemo had, like.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Let's just get right into the story.
Yeah. Okay.
So we open up. There's like a boat. It's just hanging out.
There's a boat.
In the ocean.
Yeah.
And something with like glowing green, looks like eyes.
Like destroys the boat.
Yeah.
And it's great because like we had a couple of little ones watching the movie with us, and even they were somewhat and like it felt like a time travel device because they were like, "What is that? What is that thing? That green thing? Is it a monster?" Because they all thought like all of the sailors in the movie think it's this monster, and it's a great set device set up for some of the stuff that is coming down the line.
Yeah. So then, the ship gets destroyed, and we cut to the land, like a port where everyone's like, "No, we're not going on ships. There's dangerous monsters," and other people are like, "There's no such thing as dangerous monsters in the ocean. Things we know a lot about, the ocean."
And then cut to a random sailor walking by with one woman on each arm.
Yep.
Who starts...
The only two women in the entire film,
The only two women in the entire film, which is sad. Oh, so sad. Like, that. Like, the two women in the film didn't speak at all. Like, but then a fight breaks out.
Yeah, because people are like, "Stop talking about monsters, you're causing disruption," and... police show up and everyone gets into a bit of a brawl.
Right, in the middle of the town square.
Yeah.
Like.
And then we have the port itself, and we learn that, like, sailors are like, "No, I'm not going on the ocean. Like, there's dangerous stuff going on."
Right.
And people are, like, getting stuck at this port, and they're supposed to be sailing back to their home countries or, like, their trades or whatever. We have this character, Professor, it's a French name, Pierre Aronnax?
Aronnax, yes.
Yes.
Oui.
And his sidekick.
Igor.
Igor.
He talked like this. He's like, "Oh, Professor, what are we going to do? We can't get back to France."
It was such an odd character, and
yes.
And we'll dive into like the relationship that these two had. But those are like the kind of everything's told through his eyes, the professor's eyes.
Yes.
Of like this new group coming in aboard the ship.
Yeah. So it seems like some kind of military officers like, "Hey, if you want to get back to France, like we're actually going to be on a vessel. We're just going to be scouring the waters looking to see what's going on, if this monster's there." And it's like, "Do you believe in the monster?" And he's like, "I think there's things that might be in the water we don't know about." It's like, "I don't know, but I have an open mind," kind of deal. So it's like, "Well, come aboard, and you can write a report on it. Either one, there's no monster, and it's all good, or two, you have a very good report."
Right. It's good. It's like extra credit. Like, it's like, what's the worst that could happen? Cut to that entire ship and all of the people on it. Like, granted, this movie's rated G.
Yeah.
Like, this movie's rated, but like, this has one of the highest body counts of a G-rated movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, this entire ship goes down, with the exception of our French protagonist, Igor. And Stripes.
And Stripes, the sailor from the land with the two women.
Who
He's a harpooner.
He's a harpooner.
and he specializes in wearing a striped shirt when every other sailor was in the same uniform, and he had like a blue, like navy blues, and he was in like his stripes.
Every ship gets one.
Every ship gets one stripes.
Yeah. He could also play the guitar.
Yep.
Um,
And he plays his song "Whale of a Tale," which
he knows
nice
the
song.
one song.
I like to assume like the voyage took over the course. We don't know how long, but it had to have been like weeks or so because they're like, we've scoured every part of the waters, and I like to assume he sung that song every day.
Well, you read these reports of like he did not know how to play the guitar when he got cast, and so
Yeah.
he was taught how to play, and they were like, maybe we could learn some other stuff, and he's like, no, I'm good, I got the one.
Are you saying that they literally filmed weeks on end of them on the boat, and this is the stuff they kept?
This is
Yes.
the stuff. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, whale of a tale to tell you laugh. Cut next day.
Yeah.
Whale of a tale to tell you laugh.
One of our audience members, Brian, brings up, "I love the ride," and then another one said 12 or 10 cents. He sings to a harp seal. Yes, yes.
Yes. These are things that happen.
The best relationship in the movie
is
between Stripes and the harp seal. Yeah.
So the ship that they're on, that's been searching for this monster, sees something in the water, and they're like, "Well, there's only one thing to do: fire all our cannons at it."
It's a mysterious object. It would be like, it was the weirdest moment of like, well, we don't know what it is. It could be a living creature, the last of its kind. Kill it with fire.
It's like, well, our shells are bouncing right off of it.
Send the harpoon.
Yeah, this creature or whatever it is comes careening towards them, and Stripes gets his harpoon ready. This thing that's bounced cannonballs off, and he's like, "But don't worry, I'm the best at what I do." Chucks it to the thing you described was like
this little like, green monster, but it was like the equivalent of like a car is barreling towards you, and you throw a toothpick at it. Like, but you aim for the tire.
It's like, but you're the best at throwing toothpicks.
What's just hitting me though right now is that when this group finally catches up to the Nautilus, like the main set piece for the entire movie, they're having an underwater like burial.
Yeah.
Did Stripey's get like one dude?
One guy?
Did that harpoon like fly through the open door, bounce down a couple of steps, knock on the door? As soon as the dude knocks on the door,
What? Harpoon.
The harpoon to the.
And Stripes like, I am the best at what I do.
I got one.
No, so the Nautilus, this monster, this mysterious thing, crashes into the ship, sinks it. Yeah, the professor, his buddy Igor, and Stripes are the only three who make it off, and they see the top of this thing, and they're like, well, this thing did kill everyone we know. Let's go in.
Yes, and it's the most high-tech scientific masterwork you've ever seen in your entire life. Like, it's a marvel of technology, and they leave the thing engine running, door unlocked.
Yeah.
Like, who's gonna steal it in the ocean? Cut to 3 dudes trying to steal this in the ocean.
They just go in, they're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I guess we have a ship now. Good job, us.
They find, like, a study, they find all of this information.
And they're not being very subtle about this ship that just, like, killed many people that they know about and tried to kill everyone on their ship. They're like, anyone here?
Right.
Hello?
Yeah. It's
Hey, anyone seen a harpoon?
It's such a ridiculous conceit. But they get on board the ship, and this is where the movie shifts tonally for me. Where it goes from, like, because then we have actual acting happening.
Yeah. Instead of just guys like, hey, what's going on, sailors?
When Nemo makes the scene, and we get to see this amazing performance. And
he does a wonderful job. Find the actor's name.
The set pieces that you see when you get on the Nautilus itself, like it's
James Mason.
James Mason is
as Captain Nemo is like.
He adds such gravitas to this role.
To an otherwise, I would say, it's just kind of a fun, but definitely like cheesy older movie. But he adds like a definite weight to it, and like his dialogue and his delivery. Like you really feel for what he's saying, and even though you don't always agree with him, you're like kind of like, I get it, I understand you.
I don't know the format of the. Can I ask you a question?
No,
like,
go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt. Like
no,
you're like summarizing.
Do whatever.
Is Captain Nemo the antagonist or the protagonist?
Captain Nemo, because I think the journey is following Pierre, like the professor, like it's because he's the narrator.
Is he understandable?
I think everything he does, even if you don't agree with it, you have to be like, you have to be like, I see what you're saying, and I don't
Okay.
think you're not. I think you know how like people thought about Thanos in like Infinity War, where it's like you're definitely wrong in what you're doing, but it's like I sort of see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
Or like a better example might be Killmonger in Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean, any of them, though. I mean, I think that's what makes for the best villains. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Is
I
those
feel like
that are...
he might be a more antagonistic force.
Okay.
Maybe not straight up like mustache twirly bad guy. Like
Anti-hero?
Yeah, he's probably anti-hero because the only things he's doing. Let's keep going.
Okay.
We'll get to there. We'll get there. Yeah, they explore the ship and they find Captain Nemo, and his crew, and Nemo's like, well, I don't really let people on my ship, so get off. And he's like, but you, Professor, you can stay because I know your work, and I like your work, but you have a lot to learn. Don't worry about it. We'll talk later. Get your friends to their deaths. And Pierre's like, what? Of course, I am not going to let my friends die. This is Pierre's voice.
That was a very good Pierre's
Thank you.
voice. Yeah.
And Captain Nero's like,
In an M. Night Shyamalan twist, Nemo goes, well, that was a test. I wanted to see if you would die and be willing to die, and now that you are, join my crew. Or any normal, sane person would just be like, no.
no.
Stop. No. You just...
I'm not here for your mind game tests.
Ah, that was the second test.
Oh no, I'm in. All right, part of the crew.
The true sign of any supervillain is just using everybody as pawns, like,
Yes.
around you. Yep.
So yeah, they all join the crew, have dinner with Captain Nemo, and we find out fun things where it's like, this is some good food. What is it? He's like, it's all fish. It's not veal or see those fruits. It's sea cucumber. See all that soup. It's octopus.
Was this an improv game? Were there written lines here?
Yeah.
Or was it just like, oh, this tastes like chicken.
Oh,
it
that
is
chicken is actually a...
So what did he... The squirt sauce.
Yeah.
Like...
Squirt
Squirt...
sea squirt sauce?
Sea squirt sauce.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, come on, we will go for a hunt. It'll be fun.
12% sense saying, you can stay. I need someone to monologue to.
Yes, that is very much probably the only reason. He was like, I've already talked to these other guys for somewhere between 20 and 5 years. I don't really say.
They have this scene where they have all this food, and then it's basically like everyone is now extended with open arms.
Yeah.
The French professor, Igor, and then you have Stripies.
Yes.
And for a while they serve not necessarily as guests on the ship, but almost like work your way for passage.
He's like, I don't really have guests, and I kill prisoners, so you're neither.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
Right.
And he hasn't like fit in with crew by like going on their hunting trips. It's just gathering like sea life and such.
What's sea life, Garrison?
Stingrays and fish and octopus and
just stingrays
lobsters.
and
There was a bit
lobsters.
where a bunch of his crew were handling giant sea turtles and ushered them. And I think this is where I lost Billy.
Hey kids, we've said a lot of funny things here today.
Yes.
We
laughed.
joked, we laughed, we did some, we were so funny. We did the funnies.
But now,
you know what's not funny? Eating
sea turtles.
This scene where like
is this why you think he's the villain?
One man holding a giant flipper on this side, and the other one holding a giant flipper, and the turtle just being like, "Hey guys, where are we going? Where are we gonna pet the rabbits?" Like it is, and they do it like to 5 sea turtles.
Yeah, there's like if it was just like a parade of different animals, like sea turtle and octopus, but no, it's like sea turtle, sea turtle. Sea turtle.
It's
sea turtle.
Terrible. Hi, TE. Yeah, we're talking about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea tonight.
Yeah.
So after they go hunting and
Yeah.
farming,
there's the bit where they end up going ashore later. Is this next the bit where where Nemo takes the Pierre ashore and is like, this is one of the islands?
It is.
Yeah, this is the next bit. So Nemo and Pierre kind of start forming a bit of a bond together, and Nemo wants to show him something. He brings him to an island, and it's like trying to get Pierre to kind of give a bit of an understanding into his life and all that. And he shows him this island of like people, like slave workers, like being whipped and pushed around, and they're all carrying things to these ships. And he's like, that there are.
This is he's like, look ahead of you. This is my tragic backstory.
Yeah.
And it's like I was one of these slaves. I broke out. Every man on my crew also worked as a slave on this island.
And the things that they're having us work for and carry to the ships are the things to create black powder or gunpowder.
Is this the story of a minion that became a supervillain?
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay.
And he's like weapons of war. It's like, I may cause deaths, but I'm only causing deaths to the people who would cause deaths to many more.
Right. Oh my gosh, buddy.
Yeah.
That's real good.
It's like, and Pierre's like, oh man, this guy, like, there's way more to this than I initially thought. And he starts going to talk to Stripes and Igor about it, and they're like, we gotta get out of here. We're still prisoners. They wouldn't even let us have any treasure when we were scuba hunting. You know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Stripes and Igor come up with this brilliant plan.
Yeah.
Where they are going to take messages.
Next time they go up
on towards the surface, and they're going to throw out the coordinates for like, hey, when we finally come back into port, this is where we're going to be. Send every ship,
here.
Which shouldn't work,
right?
Based on the scope of the ocean as a whole.
Also, travel time.
The fact that he threw all of the bottles in the same place.
Yeah.
So there's like most of the bottles would probably just end up in the same spot, but sure enough, it comes into play, and like the Armada is summoned later in the movie to that spot.
Yeah. So Pierre's like, no, there's more to Nemo than you could possibly imagine. And Nemo also disclosed with him that while he was in slavery, after he got out of slavery and like built the Nautilus and like built his fleet and this technology that was beyond anything anyone else had known, he got imprisoned at one point. And because he wouldn't tell like his secrets, they killed like his wife and child.
Right.
And so that drove him even further into this mission of like, I'm gonna live in the ocean in peace, but if I see anything up there, it's pointy ship time.
Yeah, yeah. It sets him on this course of like Nemo as this tragic, like he hates doing it.
Yeah.
Like he hates doing it. This scene, yeah.
Talks about like how some people have love and are filled with love, and he's like, all that has been replaced. It's like, as powerful as that is, it's all been replaced by hate, which is just as powerful. And Pierre's like, that sucks.
They tackle some heavy issues in this movie. Like they do. Like, and Brian's like just made a mention, like Brian Mantooth was like, the slavery is featured in the movie, and was like, yeah, you see it, it's talked about, like, yeah.
And they don't really go into this in the movie so much, but I know in the book, it's Captain Nemo is like from like a Middle Eastern descent, and so.
But not in this particular.
Not really.
They don't touch upon it as much. No. So yeah.
God. So we cut to, I guess, a funny scene where they surface again, and this is where Stripes is like, hey, Captain Nemo, I'm part of your crew, definitely. Mind if I go ashore and get some mangoes and stuff? And Nemo's like, no. And he's like, okay, but what if I do? And he's like, whatever. Do whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't go near the cannibals. There's cannibals, and they're bad news because of all the cannibalism.
Right.
And Stripes like, psh, all right. Goes to shore with Igor, and Igor's like, no, we shouldn't go. There's cannibals. And Stripe's like, psh, cannibal schmannibal.
At about the halfway point of the movie, it's almost as if they finished half the movie. They sent the reels off to the producers, and the producers are like, "Stop putting attention on the French guy. Like, we want more Stripes and Igor.
Yeah.
Can they have like a mini adventure?" And the director's like, "No. But like the whole focus is him and Nemo
and the journey and the
maybe
cannibals
and electricity."
Yeah.
Like,
So Stripes is going through and he's like, whatever. And it's like, oh, fresh water, and starts drinking it, but then sees, like, spikes with skulls on it, and then just hordes of cannibals, like, start running towards him, and it's, I would say reminiscent of Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones came later.
It did, and Indiana Jones very easily, like, ripped this scene.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, I had left the room at that point, and you made a joke, and then when I came back in and watched the scene, I made the exact same joke.
Which was,
Jock,
start the
plane!
Start the plane!
Yeah. And
so Stripes is running, and Igor's in the rowboat, like, getting it ready, and there's just all these cannibals.
Yeah.
And Stripes gets to the Nautilus and is like, Captain Nemo, there's a bunch of cannibals coming this way. And Captain Nemo's like, yeah, of course there's a bunch of cannibals coming this way.
Did you expect for a moment for the cannibals to walk on board and then Nemo to be like, guys and like just like pat it out a little bit? Like,
that would have
just,
been,
that
I think that would have been a funnier, like...
That was amazing. I was expecting that. I was expecting like the moment, but...
We got something a little different where the cannibals get on and Nemo's like, listen, you didn't listen to me, but whatever. Turns up a dial, and the entire outside of the ship starts, like, electrocuting.
In the ocean?
In the ocean. So all the cannibals are like, the electrocution, we don't like this. And they get back in their boats and head back. And everyone in the ship is laughing away at these people who didn't do anything wrong. Nemo even makes the point of, like, saying, like, yeah, you disturbed them, so... It's like, now they're coming to us. Like,
I set you up for this, yeah.
but no, it's still just a joke at the end of the scene. Nice.
What a great joke.
Yeah.
Like, shocking all of these people who did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
you start to lose a little bit of like, you start to see that this man has his own odd code to him, a sort of morality code.
Yeah. So as they're going away from there, they see another warship and starts firing on the Nautilus. Nautilus goes deeper down. There was like some ship damage, and it starts to like go even more damagey, damage. And so they have to fix that. And as they get lower, as they're fixing ships because they can't raise up until the ship's fixed, they get lower. And Nemo's like, "Well, we're lower than anyone's ever been," and this awakens a giant squid.
The Kraken. The Kraken comes out and so...
And this 1950s technology for a movie, Kraken, which is...
It's not terrible.
Not bad.
Apparently, the director set this fight scene, like, and wanted the juxtaposition of this happening. I love the giant squid. Oh, me too.
Like during the daylight, right?
During the daylight.
But then they saw everything moving and the strings and puppetry, and they're like, got it. Make it a rainy nighttime scene.
Block as much of this as you can.
And then we get a series of sailors with sharp objects just kind of batting at it.
Not really doing any damage.
Yeah.
Like,
well, if you have a stabby thing and you're just doing a little like...
Why didn't they put everybody
slappy?
below deck and they activate the electricity?
I think they tried it overheated. There was the bit where it overheated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
They tried that bit.
Got it.
And so the guy with the axe is like hitting it with the flat part of the axe.
Yeah,
which is, how
you want to do versus tentacles. Like, yeah. That's exactly what you want to use.
And Captain Nemo's like, don't worry, guys, I got this. And then he gets grabbed by the Kraken, and he's like, I have this way less.
But at the end of the day, the day is saved by
Stripes,
who breaks out of the prison and doesn't even know any of this is happening. It's just like, so what's going on up here? Like, just to the tone of his voice of being like, so
what's going on? It's like a guy falls below deck with like giant tentacle like suction marks on his face. He's like, hey, is everything all right? What's wrong? guy's unconscious. He's like, oh. He like goes above deck and sees this thing. He's like, oh, giant octopus fight.
One shot
Thursdays.
no scopes him.
Yeah.
One shot like just knows like, oh, a giant squid. I think you want to hit it right there, and then just poof, right there, like yeah, with this +1 harpoon. Exactly. That's what you need when you're fighting the Kraken. So this harpoon goes flying outward and strikes this thing, and the squid's like, "Sorry, Brad," and like sinks back into.
And then Nemo still grabs, so Stripes heads down into the water with a small knife and is able to cut a tentacle that could not be cut by axes with his little knife.
Let's not question this too hard.
You're right.
Lest the whole film.
It was the knife of Kraken cutting.
The knife of Kraken cutting.
Yeah. So that's all done, and Pierre and Nemo are coming to a bit of an understanding, and Nemo's like almost on the verge of like coming to terms with Pierre that like maybe the world above isn't. It's like he's like, I think it's still bad, but like Pierre thinks there's a chance that he could like convince Nemo to use his technology for the rest of the world for good and all this stuff, and Nemo's believes it's too dangerous and the world above is awful. But you can see he's like a little back and forth, and said that he brought Pierre aboard because he's like, maybe. Mm-hmm. There's a chance.
Yeah, and just when that glimmer of hope appears, they
arrive at Nemo's like island base where all his technology is stored, and of course there's
the Armada.
Yeah. And
I like how somebody was like, "Oh, he used his Vorpal knife."
Yeah.
Instantly cuts through tentacles. Like,
of course.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Never mind, guys. Everything sucks. I'm gonna blow up everything.
Everything is dead. I'm blowing up everything.
I'm blowing it all up." So Nemo goes in, sets like whatever he does, comes back out with all these soldiers from the Armada coming down, shooting at them, and Nemo gets hit.
He does, and it's an odd moment when Nemo gets hit because the audience feels for him, even though they've seen
like all the things he's done.
All of the things he's done, and just when you're like, man, I'm really gonna miss him. He's such an interesting character. He goes, I'm dying, so you guys should probably all die too.
Sink the ship.
And his entire crew is just like, you know what? That's fair.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. What else am I gonna do? Like, and the newfound people on the ship are just like, what? No.
We don't like this.
This is an odd choice. Like, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sailing on your Disney cruise. The captain has a stubbed toe, so we're going to go ahead and drop anchor and sink the whole ship. Like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, so they bring it down, and Stripes, like Muscle Man Stripes, beats up every
member of the ship.
Like, no, just punching as many people as he can.
Saves our French.
Takes the wheel, gets it up.
Immediately knows how to pilot. This amazing feat of futuristic
I'm a
tech.
harpooner, but on the side, I'm also a submarine instructor.
My hobby is designing subs. Yeah.
They surface the Nautilus and manage to get Pierre, Igor, himself, and his friend, a seal. We didn't talk about it. He made friends with the seal. Whatever. And they all get on a little boat and escape and watch as not only the Nautilus is sinking, but Captain Nemo's island explodes. But did you catch like the interesting thing about the explosion?
No.
It kind of tied a bunch of stuff together for me for the movie.
Sure. Well, hit me. What did it tie
So throughout the whole thing, Nemo's talking about how his technology couldn't be used for human world because they're too dangerous and too evil. He's like, I have technology no one else has. And that's how I was able to power the sub.
Okay.
And then when the explosion happens, it's a mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
He was using nuclear power in like the 1800s.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I was too distracted by the same thing 12 for 10 cents was distracted by, which is edible cigars.
Oh, yes.
This poor seal.
Yeah, there was a bit where they're trying to keep the seal, the seal quiet, and they like feed her the first thing in a jar, and it's these homemade, ocean-made cigars, and they just keep feeding her cigars the rest of the... It's like, here, have another cigar, and the seal's just eating them. Yeah, we'll take a break from this talk about nuclear war and the effects of it to talk about seal cigars.
What were some of your favorite moments from the film? What were some of the like little standalone moments?
Oh, I loved. I love the bit where the seal stuff is all so
all the seal
strange.
stuff. I love Banana Man.
Oh yeah, there's a little scene where they're on the ship near the beginning searching for the monster, and Stripes is there eating a banana, and like this other sailor's there looking sick, and Stripes out of his pocket pulls another banana and offers it to him, and the guy's like no. He's like and sticks the banana back in his pocket, where you see another banana next to that. This man not only eats one banana, but keeps two in his pocket
At any given time of day.
time.
Which led us to the question, how many bananas are on his person?
At any given time.
At any given time.
And how come we don't see him use bananas the rest of the movie?
It's true. I liked the banana scene. I liked all the scenes with the seal were great.
Yeah. Because there was a moment where I guess they have the seal trained to do tricks, and for no reason, sometimes they would have the seal do a trick, even though it adds nothing to the scene, where it's like time to go to bed, and he's like, wrap yourself in your blanket, and the seal goes over, grabs the blanket, and wraps himself up in it, and it's like, that's the scene.
Did you read the fact that every crewman, every extra, every person that worked on the film carried fish in their pockets?
Yeah.
In case like they had to get them to like move or like do something, everybody carried fish, and they were like, "Oh, it's fine, like it's gonna help." But then like,
this feels like so much fish.
Well, everyone smelled of like fish. Like every costume, every person like smelled of fish. Like that's insane to me. Like
actually, since we're in fun facts and trivia, like let's do that whole segment. Like
oh sweet, okay,
right
yeah.
My favorite thing about the show is I like to talk about connections the movies have to the parks, especially movies that have kind of been forgotten, pushed to the wayside, because I feel like you get a deeper understanding of Disney World and all the parks if you kind of know about these films. You can catch the little Easter eggs that you would have otherwise missed. So from this movie, the song Whale of a Tale is used multiple times in the Disney parks. In the area outside of the Little Mermaid attraction at in Fantasyland Magic Kingdom, Whale of a Tale plays there, the instrumental version. During the Electric Water Pageant, Whale of a Tale is one of the songs that plays. Even in the movie Finding Nemo, when the school of fish come by, they go, Whale of a Tale too. And there's actually a few references to the Nautilus hidden, like kind of hidden Mickey style in Fantasyland. There's one, again, in the queue for the Little Mermaid. There's like a rock formation that makes the outline of the Nautilus. And another one is outside of Winnie the Pooh attraction. There's that tree, like Piglet's house or whatever. Inside, over one of the door frames, there is a small little carving of the Nautilus.
Really?
Yeah. I posted a picture of a few of these things on the Into the Vault podcast Instagram, so if you want to look at those, check it out there.
Yes. Where can they find the podcast too?
Oh, you can find it anywhere.
Everywhere.
iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. So go follow it. We have more episodes of this. It's awesome. But yeah, there's a little carving because that tree wasn't originally in front of the ride. There was a little Winnie the Pooh playground that used to exist, but it was built over the grounds of where 20,000 Leagues used to be. So they, as a reference, they carved a little Nautilus on the inside of the tree. At Hollywood Studios in The One Man's Dream, there's a ton of props from the movie. You get one of the harpoon, the air gun,
really?
Laser things.
The laser
The
underwater rifle?
lasers. Yeah.
Underwater lasers. Yeah.
Underwater lasers.
Yeah.
They have one of those and a helmet, like one of the diving helmets, along with the Oscar that the movie won for visual effects.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I caught some BioShock references from the way that a lot of these, you've never played it, but there's a lot of the Big Daddy in BioShock seems like it was modeled after the armor that worn by these guys.
Another one that I love is you actually brought up the Haunted Mansion earlier.
Yeah.
To me, the organ inside the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
The one in
is
the
that Nemo's organ?
The one in Disneyland is Nemo's organ. The one the prop from the movie, they've put it in Disneyland's Haunted Mansion.
And they had to just make a new one for World?
Yeah, it's the one here is a replica of that. So that's another reference to 20,000 Leagues here.
Whoa, that is so cool. I didn't even know that.
Because you kept talking about Haunted Mansion like today, like how your kids were like loving it, and I was like, ha ha ha, references.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
And of course, there's like bigger things of 20,000 Leagues in other Disney parks. Tokyo has its own like 20,000 Leagues ride, but it's barely connected. You end up in Atlantis and see merfolk.
Oh.
Which, you know.
Yeah.
Good. And you've actually been to
Paris,
where their Tomorrowland is more themed around Jules Verne-esque. Instead of like the future, it's like what the past thought the future could be, so it's
very
steampunky,
steampunk.
techno,
Yeah, Space Mountain, you get fired out of a giant cannon towards the moon, and it's
and they have a walk around Nautilus down there, right?
They do. You just get to walk around from like room to room and hang out, and like at one point like the squid attacks the room you're in, and you get like little like things over the speakers. But now I'm wishing I could go back and go through it, having seen the movie.
Right. Now. See another thing. The Stripes, as we've been calling him.
Sure.
He's played by Kirk
Russell.
No, Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas.
Who is the father of Michael Douglas.
Yes.
For those of you who have seen Ant-Man, Michael Douglas is Hank Pym in that.
Yes.
He also does other movies, but I'm connecting it to Disney, so...
You have to connect it to Disney. And he's great in this. And gosh, they share a family resemblance. Like, you can totally tell. Like, and he was amazing. He was the comedic relief, that kind of the heart of the film.
Yeah, and also carried a lot of bananas.
Well, who doesn't, honestly?
I have like 7 right now. Do you need a banana?
No, I've got 8.
Cool. So now's the part of the show where I want us to construct our own attraction for this. I know there used to be a 20,000 Leagues ride at Magic Kingdom, but that's since passed.
Okay.
And I want our own. I want a new take, modern technology.
Sure.
I don't want it to be like the little submarine thing, unless that's what you want it to be. But that'd be kind of derivative.
You're like you could do that. It would be dumb. Don't do that. Okay. Like World is my oyster?
Yeah, World's your oyster. So the parameters are, it's Walt Disney World. I need you to tell me, and we can work it out together, which park, what part of the park, and then we have to come up with the ride system and then kind of like a brief story. Is it just telling scenes from the movie? Does it take place after the movie? Is it its own story?
Okay, I would set this in Tomorrowland.
Okay.
And what I would do is the first part of this would be a fully immersive, submersive restaurant.
Nice.
Where you, instead of a ride, if you'll permit me, where you're able to make your way onto the Nautilus and like have all of this food.
And it's the fish.
Yeah, but but almost like a molecular dining, like the big thing right now with like all the different sort of special effects. Food and things of that sort, where you have the Nautilus. Like you'd be able to wait there, you'd be able to sit there and have this amazing sort of steampunk-esque restaurant with the sailors coming by and things of that sort.
And then almost like the restaurant, what's the one at the Living Seas?
Only if there are seaweed cigars for after dinner.
Yes, you can have seaweed cigars. So the Coral Reef, how it has you can kind of have the aquarium bit.
Yeah, different.
I would love to have that. Have the digital effects kind of put in, where like maybe the squid, like kind of puts its tentacle around it to like add in that effect.
Yeah. Okay, so you ready for the Billy Garrison twist?
Yeah.
You are able to explore
the
portions of the.
I was going to suggest that. I was so going to suggest that.
I think you should be able to explore not only like portions of the ocean, but portions of the Nautilus. Like, and what if there was a room in the Nautilus, like you went with a group of people, and you're able to explore the different areas and sort of check it out, like while you're waiting for your food or after you're done with your food. And I've always wanted to do this, and I didn't know if it was the underwater restaurant, but a certain room in here that the minute you go in, the door clicks and locks, a secret escape room.
Oh,
that you had no that it's become one of those things that you just like you don't talk about it, like people try not to, and I'm sure it would leak out and stuff like that, but the first few people that were just like wandering around the Nautilus and The bulkhead closes.
Well, it can. That's so good. I love this, and then you can kind of like work your way up, following clues and charts and maps, and
it just
diagrams.
Seems like it's rife for like all the fun
it.
stuff of like an escape room.
So we have the escape room portion. We have the restaurant. I want. Like we can do this one of two ways. One would be easy. One would be hard.
Okay.
I want to explore the ocean floor. We can either do legit scuba, which they do. They do it at Disney, and they used to do it at Typhoon Lagoon all the time.
They do that.
Actual scuba, where you can like go around
Okay.
the ocean floor and kind of see. Like, there's like maybe a little interactive elements, like a treasure chest you can open up and things of that nature. So you can either do it literally like that, or something that might be a little more friendly for more people would be like a VR experience, where it's like now you're going out into the ocean. You put on your goggles and you can kind of.
Well, if you do that, then it's utilizing the technology of the Void.
Yeah.
Where you could have like actual interactive elements of like.
And you can have like, because in the Void you get like a blaster rifle. Maybe you get like the air rifle, like the laser thing that Captain Nemo uses. You can use it like. Obviously, I don't want us to be killing fish in this modern ride, but it could be anything. Could be.
But the experience of having putting a suit on someone and being like, now you are ready to go in the water, right? And then putting the scuba helmet on you, turning it around and being like, all right, here you go. Like it would almost be as if you were like walking underwater.
Yeah.
But like giant squid and exploring some of the different areas and experiences that could change over time.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's
and
a new
maybe you
experience.
can use like have like a tool or something like open thing, because in the Void you get like an interactive like element. I would love like more of those where you get like a lever that you see in the VR, you hold it and it's an actual lever, or like a chest, you pull it up and you feel the treasure and it's all sparkly.
So what if this is Nautilus 2.0 and you're exploring the wreckage of the original Nautilus?
Okay.
We found it.
Okay, gotcha. I love this. Where it's the Void experience and you go through the old Nautilus, like through the ocean into the
you
new
drain
Nautilus.
the water, you go through, but you're pouring through the remains of the Nautilus.
And I think maybe you can add the VR into the escape room element too, because perhaps like an escape room would leak and like the reset time in theme parks is hard, but if it's all virtual, like the reset time is just whenever.
You have this much air.
Yeah.
We're pulling you out at this time, but you only have this much air to get through.
Yeah, and you can like unlock secret doors, you can do things, and it's like you can see how far in you can get.
For anybody who doesn't know, the Void is a completely immersive, interactive, like virtual reality experience.
Over at Disney Springs.
Over at Disney Springs and some other places
locations
as well.
Where basically you put on this chest plate and a helmet with a visor, and you're in a totally virtual environment. And it's a Star Wars. They have a Star Wars and Wreck-It Ralph one, but I've only done Star Wars. And in the Star Wars one, you become basically a stormtrooper. And when you put on the VR goggles, you look at your hand and hold it up. You see like stormtrooper gauntlets on you in your arms. And if you're in with friends, you turn. Your friend now looks like a stormtrooper, and you can go through doors and like experiences happen in front of you. Eventually, you get your own blaster and you get to like fight stormtroopers. So that's an amazing experience, and you haven't done it. Highly recommend it. And then think about how cool it would be for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
To fire your underwater laser rifles.
Yeah.
I just love this.
I love this so much.
Yeah.
So, I think to wrap this up, we have to decide, was it in the vault because it was a hidden treasure, or was it locked away for our own good?
I'm going to be honest. It's not just the eating of sea turtles. There are aspects of this film that did not age well.
You're right.
However, there are portions of this film that tell me, like, in my opinion, it deserves a place in Disney Epsilon.
Yeah.
Like, it deserves a place in...
It definitely, like, added something to the mythos and canon, and then, like, from there, they've expanded it.
This was the first film Disney ever filmed with Cinescope.
Yeah.
And so there were no close-ups in this movie whatsoever, very few, because of the camera angles there. But, like, if you enjoy Avengers, if you enjoy those blockbusters that are just, like... This was the start.
Yeah.
We can't acknowledge where we are without acknowledging where we've been.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we've been. I mean, I can't imagine the grandiose scheme like or like what had
some
to
of the
go.
puppetry that they had to do for the time and the things they had to make, and
Well,
all the underwater scenes. I'm like, how on earth are they doing that in the 1950s? You know?
Did you see any of Walt in Nemo? Especially at the end of like
Yeah.
building a better tomorrow, like,
Yeah.
and like the world's not ready for my vision of the future, but
Mhm.
someday, like they're gonna be ready for it.
Yeah.
Like that had Walt written.
Yeah.
All
there's
over.
there's got to be a reason why he loved it so much and why so many like references and attractions like grew out of this movie that frankly not many people I know have seen. And it's
No.
still like today like a lot of people I think know it through Disney like just as much as they know it through Jules Verne.
Yeah. Well, there's portions of the oceans we still haven't explored yet.
Yeah.
Like in you know.
And this was like this story is kind of like the antithesis not the antithesis, the like grand like idea of like exploration and
Right.
seeing the unknown and
Yeah. Instead of going, it's going to the stars. We're going to the sea,
Yeah.
and it was a sci-fi movie.
yeah.
You know, with a seal
Yeah.
and bananas.
Yeah. So
What do you think? Does it
I would
belong
say
in the
hidden
vault?
treasure, but not like gold coins. I'd say like a nice banana though. Like it's a treasure, but it's just like you open up, it's like some good bananas.
It's good bananas.
Yeah.
And you're like, while you're looking around at
It's
some
like
of it,
this isn't worth like gold, but it's a good banana.
it's a good banana.
I'll take it.
You heard it here, folks. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. A
It's
good banana.
banana.
I think there's no better way to stop this. So tell the folks where they can find Instagram. Thank you so much for letting me be
Oh
on.
my god, thank you.
I will cut the audio from this and send it to you, and you guys will be able to find it in podcast form. But yeah, thank you so much.
I mentioned it earlier. You can find us Into the Vault on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. We have 2 episodes already uploaded. One called The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes with Tim Watt as my guest on that. You'll know him from a few streams here. And The Rocketeer with Jaden McGrail, who's over in the corner. Hi, Jaden.
Hello.
Good. You can find us on Instagram at Into the Vault Podcast and stay there for updates. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. And remember, 20,000 Leagues is a good bit of banana.